I've turned in grain bowls before, a couple of them, but never a live edge. I won this piece at our local club raffle last month, and I thought I'd give it a go. It's showing about 16% moisture, so it's somewhat dry. The goal here is to leave, this will be the bottom. The goal here is to leave a live edge top. So from here down will be just bowl or some live edge. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, that's the goal. Hopefully I can keep the bark on, and it should be interesting. So check this out. Final shape isn't done, but started a shape on it. I cut a mortise. I gotta tell you, this like scrapers a whole lot more than it does tools. This is hard. I'm not sure what this is. Man, it's hard. It turns out this is pine that was burnt in the Bastrop fire of 2011, and portions of the tree were salvaged. Very much harder than oak or mesquite. I had to sharpen at least 3 times in the process of turning, but it's just really, really hard. If you look closely at the black spots between the pieces of the grain in places, I believe what happened is the heat from the fire actually cooked the resin into the fibers of the wood and made it hard. It's the only thing I can figure. I've got this screwed to a faceplate ring. This was a cookie. I roughed in the outside shape and I turned a mortise in the bottom. I'm going to clean it up some and try to finalize the outside shape that I want. And then we will turn it around, chuck it up, and hollow it out. The bark looks like it's nicely attached, and because it's end grain, a good sharp scraper works very well. My moisture meter says it was 16%. Now I want to round this bottom a little bit. I don't want to go any higher than this because I'm going to have to come down to here because of that chainsaw cut. Time to sand it up. I'm going to start in reverse. Now we're going forward. So that's what sanding of the outside is going to look like. When I get the outside done and I get this turned around, I'll come back. Got a couple of coats of nylon sanding sealer on it. Before I turn it around, I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to take this too close to the bark because that wax will turn white. Now we'll speed it up. Let that dry a minute, and then I will put Howard feeding wax on it. I don't want it really shiny because of the bark. Now I'll let this sit 20 minutes to cure, and I will buff it up. I'm going to trim this top down first. Well, this stuff is hard. It dulled this tool already. And I've got that cut down as far as I want. coming off of there is hot. Establishing my outside rim. I'm going to use my elbow tool. When I get set up for that, I'll come back. I've got to have the dust hood in place, but I'll try to not get in your way anymore than I have to. The reason this is easier is because with cutting this way, I'm cutting side grain, so it cuts easier. And I need to sharpen. Time to change cutters. There are some cracks in there now. There weren't any cracks before. Before I go any further, I'm going to take the chuck off the lathe. I'm going to stabilize that crack with CA because I do not want it coming any further. Okay, now we can get on with finishing this. I filled the cracks. It's still a little thick. I want to make that wall a little bit thinner right there. Now, I'm going to soften this edge just a little. Alright, time to get set up for sanding and I'll come back. And that's 600. Hit this with some myelin sanding sealer. Alright, now we'll let this set up a little bit and I'll come back and we'll finish it up. And like we did on the outside, hit the inside with some Axe abrasive paste. I want to be easy though, because I don't want any of that wax in that bark. Work it in, speed up a little bit. I'll let this sit and harden up a few minutes, and then I will come and I will put Howard's in the middle. Okay, applying some Howard feeding wax. And now I will let that sit for 20 minutes and then we'll come buff that up. Okay, time to buff this up. Now I will turn it around and put it in the vacuum chuck and finish the bottom. Alright, I've got it on my vacuum chuck. Alright, let's get this sanded up. And I will continue this process through 600 and I'll come back. Okay, Mylan sanding sealer. We'll let that dry a few minutes. Howard feeding wax. We'll let that sit 20 minutes or so and buff it up. And then I'll take it to the laser, burn my logo, and I'll come back when it's done. So here it is. That ingrained live edge bowl. I've not done one like this. Interesting. And I think it's kind of pretty. I got the cracks stabilized on the inside. There hadn't been any movement since there. In here anyway. And in the back, there were no cracks in the back of this. In the bottom when I turned it around. But you can see cracks now. But we'll see what happens. Time will tell. My moisture meter says we're at about 6%, so I don't know. It's not terribly thin down here, but it's about 1/4 of an inch at where the old mortise was. Just finished it with some Howard feeding wax. I like it. I'm happy with it. It's got just enough sheen, but it still feels nice and natural. So that's another turning done. Another one coming soon. Y'all stay tuned. I appreciate you watching. Y'all come back.